Hi, everyone. There have been countless books written on the origins of Freemasonry, most of them claiming to have discovered some sort of secret truth behind its beginnings. Most scholars agree that modern Freemasonry began around the 17th century in Europe, with speculative Masons adopting tools and customs from operative Masons who built large buildings and monuments. But what if the origins of Freemasonry actually stretch back thousands of years? What if elements of this ancient fraternal organization can be found in the rituals and ceremonies of ancient Egypt? Join us today as we explore the fascinating evidence for an ancient Egyptian connection to Freemasonry. The idea of ancient Egyptians performing Masonic rituals might sound outlandish, but there are striking similarities between the two cultures that cannot be ignored. Both were highly ritualized societies with a strong emphasis on symbolism and allegory. Both emphasized the importance of personal transformation and enlightenment through esoteric teachings, and both used tools and emblems that have become synonymous with Freemasonry today. The parallels are so striking that one might wonder if there is a real link between these two seemingly disparate cultures. At first glance, the ancient Egyptians and the Masons of the 18th century Europe appear to be worlds apart. The Egyptians were polytheistic priest-kings who ruled over a vast empire. The Masons were mostly Christian stonemasons who worked on secular projects. However, when we look deeper into the similarities between the two, it becomes clear that they have more in common than meets the eye. One of the most significant similarities between ancient Egypt and Freemasonry is the emphasis on ritual. Both societies placed great importance on ritual and ceremony, believing that they were a means of connecting with the divine. The Egyptians had elaborate rituals for their religious festivals, such as the celebration of the annual flooding of the Nile River. These rituals were designed to ensure the continued favor of the gods and the prosperity of the kingdom. Similarly, Freemasons have their own elaborate rituals and ceremonies that are designed to initiate new members into the fraternity and to remind them of their obligations and teachings. The similarities between the two rituals are striking, with both groups using symbols and allegories to convey deeper truths. Another similarity between ancient Egypt and Freemasonry is the use of symbolism. Both societies believed that objects and images could represent abstract concepts and ideas. The Egyptians used symbols such as the Eye of Ra to represent the sun god and the Eye of Horus to represent protection and good health. Freemasons also used symbols such as the all-seeing eye to represent divine watchfulness and the square and compass to represent the balance between the material and spiritual worlds. The use of symbolism in both cultures reflects a belief in the power of the human mind to understand and interpret the world around it. Finally, another similarity between ancient Egypt and Freemasonry is the emphasis on personal transformation. Both societies believed that individuals could be transformed through their participation in rituals and ceremonies. The Egyptians believed that by participating in rituals, individuals could connect with the divine and achieve a state of enlightenment. Similarly, Freemasons believe that by going through the process of initiation, individuals can be transformed into better versions of themselves. This emphasis on personal transformation is a key element of Freemasonry and is also found in many other esoteric traditions. In addition to these broader similarities, there are also specific practices and beliefs that are shared between ancient Egypt and Freemasonry. For example, both societies believed in the existence of a soul that could survive the death of the body. The Egyptians had elaborate beliefs about the afterlife and the journey of the soul, while Freemasons believe in a soul that is immortal and can attain a higher state of existence. Both societies also believed in the importance of living a virtuous life and helping others. The Egyptians believed that by living a virtuous life, individuals could ensure a peaceful transition to the afterlife. Similarly, Freemasons are expected to be charitable and to help those in need. Now let us delve into some of the key symbols of Freemasonry and explore their possible connections to ancient Egypt. The all-seeing eye is one of the most recognizable symbols of Freemasonry. It is often depicted as an eye within a triangle surrounded by light or rays. In Freemasonry, the all-seeing eye represents the belief that the actions of humans are always being watched over by a higher power, such as God or the universe. This symbol is thought to have originated in ancient Egypt, where the Eye of Horus was a prominent symbol. The Eye of Horus was believed to represent protection, good health, and spiritual insight. Some believe that the all-seeing eye of Freemasonry is a direct descendant of the Eye of Horus, and that it carries with it the same meaning and significance. Others argue that the connection between the two is purely symbolic, and that there is no historical evidence to support a direct link. Another Masonic symbol with possible Egyptian roots is the pyramid. In Freemasonry, the pyramid is often seen as a symbol of strength, stability, and the search for enlightenment. It is sometimes used to represent the journey of a Mason towards spiritual perfection. The pyramid has a long history that predates Freemasonry by thousands of years. In ancient Egypt, pyramids were built as tombs for pharaohs and were seen as symbols of their power and divinity. Some believe that the pyramid shape itself represents the primordial mound, a concept found in many ancient cultures, including the Egyptians, which symbolizes the birthplace of humanity and the cosmos. While there is no direct evidence linking the Egyptian pyramids to Freemasonry, the similarities between the two cultures' views on symbolism and spirituality suggest that the connection may have been made organically over time. It is important to note that not all scholars agree on the connection between ancient Egypt and Freemasonry. Some argue that any similarities between the two cultures are purely coincidental and that there is no evidence to support a direct link. Others argue that the evidence is too strong to ignore and that there must have been some sort of Egyptian influence on early Masons. Ultimately, the question of whether or not there is a real link between ancient Egypt and Freemasonry remains a mystery. The evidence is intriguing and the similarities between the two cultures are striking, but without concrete evidence, it is difficult to say for sure. The idea of ancient Egyptians performing Masonic rituals might seem far-fetched, but the similarities between the two cultures are too great to be ignored. Both societies were highly ritualized and symbolic, emphasizing personal transformation and enlightenment through esoteric teachings. While there is no concrete evidence of a direct link between the two, the similarities raise intriguing questions about the origins of Freemasonry and the possibility that modern Masons are the inheritors of ancient Egyptian mysteries. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe for more videos on ancient Egypt and other topics. Thank you for watching, and we hope to see you again soon. Some writers have proposed that the Great Pyramid of Giza was actually a massive stone hinge used to contain a giant crystal that emitted a powerful energy. According to these theories, the crystal was located deep within the pyramid and was used by the Egyptians for various purposes, such as healing and energy generation. However, there is no evidence to support these claims, and they remain firmly in the realm of speculation. Others have claimed that the Sphinx was actually a depiction of an extraterrestrial being and that the Egyptians encountered aliens thousands of years ago. However, these claims are also unfounded, and there is no evidence to support the idea that the Egyptians had any contact with extraterrestrials. Despite these fringe theories, the Great Pyramid of Giza remains one of the most popular tourist destinations in Egypt, and visitors from all over the world come to marvel at its magnificence and try to decipher its secrets. Now let's move on to the next topic. As we have already discussed, one of the most striking similarities between ancient Egypt and Freemasonry is the use of symbolism. Both cultures believed that objects and images could represent abstract concepts and ideas, and they used symbols to convey deeper meanings and teachings. One of the most prominent symbols used by both Freemasons and ancient Egyptians is the Eye of Horus. The Eye of Horus was an ancient Egyptian symbol that represented protection, good health, and spiritual insight. It was often depicted as a stylized eye with a vertical pupil and was used in amulets and other objects. In Freemasonry, a similar symbol known as the all-seeing eye is used to represent divine watchfulness and the belief that the actions of humans are always being observed by a higher power. Some scholars believe that the all-seeing eye of Freemasonry is a direct descendant of the Eye of Horus, and that it carries with it the same meaning and significance. However, others argue that the connection between the two is purely symbolic, and that there is no historical evidence to support a direct link. Another interesting similarity between ancient Egyptian beliefs and Freemasonry is the concept of the underworld. In ancient Egyptian beliefs, the journey through the underworld was a crucial part of the afterlife, and individuals had to pass through various trials and tests in order to reach the field of reeds, a place of peace and happiness. This journey was often depicted as a symbolic rebirth, and the ancient Egyptians believed that the soul could be transformed and purified through this experience. Similarly, in some Masonic traditions, the ritual of initiation is seen as a symbolic death and rebirth, in which the candidate is symbolically killed off and raised again as a new person. This symbolism reflects the belief that individuals can be transformed through their participation in Freemasonry, and that the journey towards enlightenment often involves a process of death and rebirth. While the similarities between ancient Egyptian beliefs and Freemasonry are intriguing, it is important to note that there is no concrete evidence to support the idea that Freemasonry is a direct continuation of ancient Egyptian traditions. Many of the similarities between the two cultures can be explained by the fact that both cultures were highly ritualized and symbolic, and that they shared a common belief in the importance of personal transformation and enlightenment. Overall, the evidence for a direct link between ancient Egypt and Freemasonry is inconclusive, and the question of whether or not the two cultures are connected remains a mystery. Thank you for watching.